around 7 in the morning, we are told that the soldiers, 23 soldiers, they left from the Pratappur subsector to the forward location, Hanif, and it was 25 kilometers from the Theos when this unfortunate ill-fated incident took place, and the vehicle in which the soldiers of the Indian Army, they were traveling in, went down into a deep gorge, Shok River. It was around 20 meters deep, and due to the unfortunate incident, all 26 soldiers of the Indian Army received injuries when they were shifted to 403 Regiment Hospital of the Indian Army in Pratappur. 7 of them were declared dead by the doctors there, and 19 are still critical, we are being told, as all of them have received critical injuries. And now the specialized teams too have been rushed from Ladakh. Apart from that, the requisition has been made to the Indian Air Force for the air evacuation of those grievously injured in this unfortunate incident, so that they can be timely taken to the Western Command and they can be provided with best of the treatment. See, what led to the unfortunate incident? This is part of the probe, and that too will be initiated by the Indian Army at the given time. But first, the priority remains for the Indian Army is to save those 19 precious lives which are still battling, and 7 unfortunately have lost their life in this incident that has taken place in the Turtuk subsector of Ladakh. Niranjan.
Right. Stay with us. Stay with us. In fact, I'm just reading out the information that is available with us right now. Colonel Shailendra Singh also joining us on the phone line. Colonel Shailendra Singh, getting in details, initial details, in fact, of what really happened this morning at 9 o'clock. 26 soldiers moving from a transit camp to a forward location. The vehicle skids off the road, falls into the Shok River, and 26 evacuated to a field hospital, and surgical teams moved from Leh. 7 soldiers, we've lost 7 soldiers, and grievous injuries to many others. So it's a very serious situation. Tell our viewers a little bit about this area and the challenges involved in when something like this happened. Colonel Shailendra Singh.
Allow me, my heart bleeds out to the families of these people who were lost their lives. There's no doubt about that. This is a very sad incident happening. It should have never happened. But yes, now let me come to the brass tracks. Having served in the same area for more than 3 years, allow me to educate everybody. This is the kind of situation we face every day. It is happening every day. Convoy moves from transit camp every day. We move people left, right, and center every day. And you can well imagine that what is the kind of risk to life is carried there, especially so when we have a problem of oxygen, where we are working at a 50% oxygen level that contributes to non-recovery, and it unfortunately makes you sick and die much earlier. So whatever is your stamina, you unfortunately lose it. So I can only tell you one thing, that as a country, we should be most grateful, we should appreciate, we should be going out of way to respect the Indian Army and the soldiers deployed in such tough areas, where वो अपनी जान हथेली पर लेकर रोजाना इन सड़कों पर चलते हैं. It is just sheer spirit that keeps them alive.
Absolutely, Colonel Shailendra. I think you put it beautifully there. All of us, of course, praying for the families of our soldiers who've lost their lives, and we salute them, sir. We salute them, and we know the conditions under which they keep us safe every single day. Brigadier Anil Gupta also joining us on the phone line. Brigadier, we've had 2 very, very senior officers speaking to us, Major Sudhakarji, and then you just heard Colonel Shailendra, both who've served in that area, talking about how difficult it is for our soldiers to serve in these areas. And then you hear news like this. Very unfortunate. We're all in shock. I'd like to get your views on how difficult it is to, tackle with a situation like this when it is in such a remote area especially.
As it is, the terrain there is so difficult. And in those areas, its survival is not against the enemy, it's more against the weather and the terrain. And today's accident has proved. But then
losing lives in accidents, I am somehow against it. My sincere, I would say, gratitude to the soldiers who lost their life. But somewhere, some mistake has occurred, which should be taken care of. Luckily, this accident taken place near Thois. Thois is an airfield. So maybe the injured may be evacuated by air and we will be able to save their lives. But losing valuable lives, soldiers, valuable lives in accident, 26 injured, this is highly, highly unfortunate and I would say unprofessional in some manner. There's a need to go into the cause of the accident. That's all I would say.
Shawan is joining us live as well. Shawan, yeah.
Very much.
Sorry, Shawan. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, in fact, Niranjan, we're getting in some more details of what really transpired. Let's just take our viewers through some of the details that are coming in to our newsroom right now. This incident happened around 9 o'clock this morning is what we are being told. 26 soldiers were moving from the transit camp to the subsector Hanif. Incident took place about 25 kilometers from Thois, and as Brigadier Gupta was also pointing out that you have an airfield in Thois that perhaps would have made life a little easier for the army to carry out the operations, the rescue operations also, but we'll have to wait and watch for more details to come in from the army in terms of the operations that's been carried out so far. The vehicle apparently skidded and fell in Shyok River, so that undoubtedly would have made things far more difficult. 26 individuals were evacuated to 403 Field Hospital at Partarpur. We'll try and be getting in some more reactions right now. Major General P.K. Cycle is joining us on this broadcast. General Cycle, undoubtedly an unfortunate incident that's now taken place. We've lost 7 of our soldiers. We've been speaking to several of experts to try and understand the challenges in movement in that very area. Your first reactions?
Firstly, I was posted in Ladakh from 1974 to 76. I was a helicopter unit commander and I've been in this entire area, Partarpur and Dawes, etc., both by road and by aircraft hundreds of times. The road is pretty treacherous. There are several bends on the road, and the river is a fast-flowing river in the mountains. And weather suddenly backs up. The visibility reduces to even less than 5 feet. You cannot even see 5 feet ahead. And under the circumstances, obviously the drivers made some mistake, or the roads at times are very slippery because of sudden snowfall or sudden rain, etc. And obviously the driver lost his control and the vehicle has got down into the Shyok River. And it's been so unfortunate and tragic that we've lost 7 lives and certain Jawans have been almost, I'm told, about 26 Jawans have been injured. I hope whole lot of them survive. Through your channel, I will like to pay condolences of the entire nation to the bereaved families. And I am very certain that the government of India and the Indian Armed Forces will do everything under the sun to ensure that everything is done for the next of kin. In fact, the army looks after the next of kin exceedingly well. But all that notwithstanding, the government also needs to do something about it. And I'm very certain they will do so. Even when you're flying in that area.
Well, thank you very much.
General Sudhakarji, getting in tragic news now that 7 soldiers have succumbed in an accident in Turtuk sector of Ladakh. Others have suffered grievous injuries too. And these are initial details coming in. Sir, if you can, from your experience, tell us a little bit about, when something like this happens, the different protocols that kick in and how difficult it is given the region where this accident has happened.
Niranjan, good afternoon. Thank you for getting me on the telephone bite after a long gap. One doesn't have the specific details, but going from Leh, the highest feature that one has to go across to reach Turtuk is Khardungla. And Khardungla, as you know, at some point in time, it used to be the highest motorable pass in the world. Now it has been overtaken by another feature in the same sector known as Marsi Mikla. So you go across Khardungla, go down to the Nubra Valley. From Nubra Valley, there is a place called Khalsar. Along the Nubra, which comes from Siachen Glacier, joins a river known as Shok River, and thereafter the Shok River flows down to Partapur. From Partapur, it goes to Chalunka and then to Turtuk sector. It's a long haul, it's a long distance, and most of the patch is through the riverine terrain along the bank of the river. It opens up, the valleys are very wide, and it's almost at an altitude of 14,000 plus. So you can say it is nearly in the second stage of high altitude, and one has to do proper acclimatization. Once you enter this Chalunka Valley, it goes through very narrow precipices, and if it has taken place in Turtuk, then maybe the vehicle was going towards the subsector Hanif. When we lost the young officer Hanif during Kargil war to Pakistani shelling and firing when you were scaling the cliff, ice cliff. Well, this is a very, very dangerous sector, and maybe at the moment all I can say is pray to God for the soul to rest in peace, and may the bereaved families be given strength to bear this irreparable loss. Back